Hey guys, Alberto here, and it's time for the inaugural episode of. Hold on, I think something's missing. Got it. Knew something was missing. There we go, look at that. So, let's start this again. Hey guys, Alberto. This is going to be the inaugural episode of Alberto Sports Talks. I'm probably just going to put in a title of what I'm talking about and the date. So we're going to work this out as we go. But we're going to cover several topics today. Since this is going to be an every Wednesday type of schedule, I'm not going to really so much focus on the stuff prior, maybe more towards looking forward. Like we had the wild card round last week for the NFL, and I'm just going to turn my hat backwards because, yeah. Actually, let's just do this. We just had the wild card round. We already know who won, so rather than that, and we can discuss about that maybe in the future, I want to go into what's coming up. But first, something happened Monday night. And that was the national championship game. I don't care. Like, the NCAA Division I FBS football is in a very, very weird spot. And I can go on forever. And you'll see my tweet in the video that I wasn't interested. And this is the first time in a very long time that I just haven't been interested in national championship game. And I'll go ahead and say this: all of my teams that I root for, even my alma mater, I never graduated, so if you count it like that, even the teams I grew up rooting for and my local teams just didn't do crap. One of my teams didn't qualify. My other team lost in the bowl game horrendously, and it didn't end well. And my main team that I grew up with didn't make the playoffs, so that part doesn't even count. But sitting down during whatever free time I had and watching some of the bowl games that wasn't canceled, this bowl game season was just disappointing. And if you like prolific offenses, then the national championship game was great, albeit one-sided. Listen, Ohio State had to deal with a bunch of stuff at the last minute with the current pandemic. A lot of their guys got sick. I think their starting running back got hurt like on the third play or something from scrimmage for Ohio State. So that already just flashed bad news. But Alabama is just way too darn talented. And Ohio State just looked and it felt like they got out-coached. Like when I turned the TV off to go to bed, it was a 30, I want to say it was 28-17 or 35-17 at that point. And we all knew Bama was going to run away with it. They had 3 Heisman finalists on their offense. That is ridiculous. 3 of them, and all 3 of those are projected to be first-round picks. Are they? Draft is a few months away, so we'll worry about that later. Thinking about doing a separate series for the draft anyway, but the whole college football season was weird in general. And on top of that, the top 5 or 6 teams, all the same teams before. We had a fight between Texas A&M and Oklahoma for the number 6 spot. Number 5 being Florida. Notre Dame had a random surge, but definitely looks like children during the NCAA championship during the Clemson game, and for that matter to the Ohio State game. God, I was in a restaurant one corner just literally got hurdled. I literally stood there in the restaurant and was like, that was a man just playing with a boy. Like, not that way, but like, oh, it was just awful. So needless to say, the national championship game, if you like high prolific offense, you got it. You got like 20 like not 20 touchdowns, but like 10 touchdowns that game. If you were a betting man, and I'm not really much of a gambler, I know I play gotcha games, but that's besides the point. Yeah, you just don't you wouldn't want to take the under or the even because you know that the defenses this season has not been the prolific thing. I can literally go on and on about the college football season and its flawed. I know it's been talked about a lot during different popular sportscasters, sports topics, sports talk shows, I guess you could say. I want to save that till we get more into the NFL offseason because I feel like there's way too much going on right now still in the NFL offseason for it to happen. Now I'm not gonna talk about like coaching hires and possible free agents. We'll get there when we get there. I will mention that Doug Peterson got fired. Been a wild past 2 weeks for Doug Peterson, but okay. Nonetheless, let's just focus on what we got right now. And let's start with the games. Which games first? The Rams on Saturday? Rams in Green Bay on Saturday. Now, this is going to be a battle of the trenches. And you can say that about any game, but I think this game, you have to focus on the LA's defensive line versus Rodgers. Their running attack has definitely gotten up there towards the end of the season in Green Bay. And Green Bay has been not good against the run at all, even last year. That's what hurt them last year in the conference championship. So you got to remember, with Goff not 100%, they're going to probably run the ball more. And the Packers have to stop it. Because if they don't, then you're going to be worrying about the play action and stuff. And the play action has been prolific this season. So that matchup you're going to have to see with Aaron Donald. And I don't know any of the defensive ends for Green Bay because they don't talk about the defense. They just don't. But that's definitely going to be something to watch for. And I did not think this take would take this quickly. I will say, do not doubt, and this is going to be like the kind of the X factor, right? Is the main thing you're going to be watching during the game is the defensive offensive lines. They always dictate how it goes anyway, but especially in this case, you got to have Aaron Donald versus the more than likely, like 95% sure MVP in Aaron Rodgers. Now, is he going to have a prolific game? Probably. You got Jalen Ramsey that's probably going to shadow Devontae Adams the entire time. That is unless AJ Dillon or I think is it Jamal Adams? Jamal something? I forgot his name. No, Aaron Jones. That's his name. Aaron Jones. Going to be out there. AJ Dillon looked really good the final week of the season against I think Tennessee was the last game of the season for the Packers. He looked very good. Had a 100-yard game, which if you guys know anything about AJ Dillon back in college, and I believe he went to Boston College, he was out there in rushing yards for the entire FBS. At least I believe in his junior year, he was a second-round pick from Boston College. So I mean, I personally knew, since I watch a lot of the American. I do watch a lot of the American Athletic Conference, but the Atlantic Coast Conference. So I'm used to seeing AJ Dillon just go off. So then finally he's starting to hit a stride as a rookie or a first year or a second year player. Great. So that is why you got to watch the lines. But of course, you got Aaron Rodgers, the MVP. Like, why wouldn't you be watching him? Whew, that's a lot off my chest. So let's talk about Baltimore real fast, because that is the evening game for that Baltimore and Buffalo. And ooh-wee. This is going to be interesting, right? So if you want to talk about the line game, like the offensive defensive line, and the Rams and the Packers game, you're definitely gonna have to watch out for the linebacking core in Buffalo and Baltimore. It's, can you contain Lamar Jackson, and can you contain Josh Allen? Josh Allen has become a significantly better passer, and if I had when I said Rodgers 95% MVP, I think the other 5% goes to Josh Allen right now. He is nuts right now with him and Stephon Diggs. They lost, I think, Zach Moss for this game, so I don't know how well the rushing attack is going to be. They're always pretty deep anyway in Buffalo when it comes to running, so I'm not too worried about that. But the linebacking core trying to contain everything and keep everything in front of them when it comes to the QBs, because Josh Allen may not like run so much anymore or have desire runs for him, but that doesn't mean he can't. And I think that is going to be something to watch out for if this game does get out of hand. Obviously Baltimore has a great run game, and with including Lamar Jackson and the just RPOs with Hollywood Brand and the secondary, with secondary intermediate routes is what I should say. Definitely very scary. This is going to be another one of those. This could either blow out of proportion score wise, or this is going to be a very low scoring game, whereas the run game might have control. You're going to have some few splash plays with like Lamar Jackson breaking out and getting a 30-yard run, or even Josh Allen just shooting up a lollipop a go route for Stephon Diggs, because he's top 5 receiver right now. What can I tell you? So definitely watch that front seven, that linebacking, because this I think can get out of hand very, very quickly. I still think Buffalo is going to be the all-around better team, but Baltimore definitely has momentum in their favor, so you better watch out for that. Cleveland. Oh my god. I watched because again, this was a late night game for me on Sunday. Yeah, this was the last game of the day. And when I saw that they were jumped out like 21 points is when I turned on the TV, until that interception that was tipped at the line of scrimmage by I forgot the linebacker was picked off and run back near almost for a touchdown, until I believe it was Kareem Hunt punched it in. Wow. Now, this might work in favor for the Browns. Not only do they have the momentum going for them, it's an empty stadium, going to be in Kansas City, so they don't have to worry about the crowd noise, because those guys can get loud. But they have two of the best running backs right now, the best running back tandem in giving people the full Chubb, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt, who is feeling a little bit salty when Kansas City let them go. So I expect this to be a highly profaned run game type of game. There's going to be a lot of clock eating. They're going to put Patrick Mahomes out there. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably 95, 93, 95, 3%, 2% with Josh Allen at the 3% spot and Patrick Mahomes at the number 2. He's still one of the best players in football right now, but Rodgers is doing some magic. You can't deny that. But if we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, they have two great wide receivers as well, in Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill. So even if Cleveland Browns run down the clocks, which they should, they're going to have explosive plays that put them right back into this game. I do think this works out in Cleveland's favor, though. The only issue is all the injuries and the sickness that is running through their locker room right now. If their offensive line can come back, there is a chance they just run the ball down Kansas City's throats. Because even if Kansas City are okay against the run, they're not the best. So this game can get very sneakily good very quickly. And this is a 3 o'clock game, so that is wild. I'm still going to pick Kansas City because my gut says don't doubt Kansas City. But Cleveland, they got a chance. And that, I think, worries me more than anything else. And then time for my bias to show. I'm going to go ahead and switch hats for a split second, even though this doesn't match. Listen, man, I'm not confident. Let's bring this back a little bit, because this is probably the one I have the most experience with. Week 1, it's a prolific game against Breeze and Brady with no offseason, an offense that literally has not been together more than a few weeks, hasn't had really practiced together, against a New Orleans team that literally just said, you know what, just be ready for OTAs, we'll be fine. Because they've been together for like 4 or 5 years at this point as an offense and a defense. So that game, on the rust and stuff, and the trying to get to know each other stuff, the timing, which can be very important between quarterback and receiver. That's understandable. There's no excuse for what happened during Week 9. You had Ali Marpet out due to the concussion that he suffered, I believe, either in the Giants game or the Chicago game. Yes, he's arguably, outside of Tristan Wirfs, your best offensive lineman. Fair. But the Saints ran wild on the Bucs, and it made Brady darn near seeing ghosts, and that is the worst I'm seeing Tom Brady that I have ever had a chance to see, and I never watched him a lot during his tenure at New England, right? So it's definitely very, very scary. But Tampa Bay has a little bit of momentum coming their way. They already had rough against Week 9, so you can say momentum wasn't there, right? For bias sakes, I'm obviously going to take my Buccaneers, but it's definitely not looking pretty. Alvin Kamara is supposed to be healthy. Michael Thomas is supposed to be healthy for the first time in a while. I think he was a healthy scratch during, the first game. In the second game, actually he did get hurt the first game, and then he was still having hamstring issues during Week 9. That was where he was in and out of the lineup. Trust me, I remember I had Michael Thomas in my fantasies. Whew, this year was a rough year. Anyway, if this is definitely a different Buccaneers team from Week 9, I will say this. Now, numbers say that the teams who swept during the regular season and they meet again in the postseason, fortune usually tends to favor, the sweepers. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are picking the Saints, and they have a right to. I'm going to go against my better judgment, everyone's better judgment, I should say, and pick the Bucs still. A, because there's a personal bias. They're my team, obviously. Grew up around them. I remember getting kicked out of the Super Bowl party back in 2003 at halftime, before they actually started getting good, because I was 7 years old, and I had school the next morning. So I actually want to see them in the Super Bowl for once and not have that restriction. But this is definitely a different team. You can tell Brady was forcing things now that the offense, especially with the inclusion of Antonio Brown to... we all know that backstory with Antonio Brown. But everything is starting to click. If Ronald Jones is healthy, there's potential. Unfortunately, Alex Kappa, who is probably having his best season, and I didn't see this coming. I thought that side was going to be the roughest with a rookie and Alex Kappa, who had a lot of rough years. I think this is his third year in the league. His rookie year and his second year was not pretty as a backup. But he's definitely come to mold as a top tier guard that, again, I completely forgot he was there because he didn't give out many sacks. So I believe Ted Larson is going to make the start. Usually they would have Ryan Jensen kick over and have AQ in the center. Unfortunately, it looks like AQ earlier this year did get a career-ending injury, which is very sad. AQ sounds fine though, because he shows up on the Pat McAfee show. And again, it just calls in as a buddy. Or I think he showed up on the pod once. And that's Hockey Talkies. Probably shouldn't talk about other people's podcasts. But, I guess game respects game. That counts. I don't know. Regardless, this is definitely going to be just how, like I said, with the Los Angeles game against Green Bay. Whoever wins in the trenches is going to win this game. And odds are in that it looks pretty good for New Orleans, because that defense, people always talk about Drew Brees and Kamara and Thomas. That defense, though, one of the best in the league, hands down, right now. Tampa, if they can get pressure or just non-stop blitzing, oh, well, Breeze is the best when you blitz. Yeah, but eventually you're going to get to Breeze and he's going to make a mistake. That's just how it is. So as long as they stay aggressive on defense, they'll probably give up a big play here or there. But in the long run, as long as the offense gets going for Tampa, that's the last thing you want to think about, and just capitalize on those mistakes that Breeze makes. But nonetheless, that is it. So my predictions are going to be Green Bay, Buffalo, Kansas City, and my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Regardless, I'm gonna. I thought this show would go on a lot longer. It's probably going to be a half hour, 40-minute show once I start getting more stuff to talk about, especially during the off season. Hopefully, once we talk about free agency and the draft, I want to do a series where I cover two or three teams going in the draft order. Coming soon. Also, I should probably talk about a little bit about hockey, but hockey starts up literally tonight as Wednesday. It probably already started by the time you guys are seeing this. Because it's probably going to go up late afternoon. I'm probably going to be at work and doing something else. And wow, is it really that time? Oh man. But yeah. Go Bolts, because they play against Chicago at 8 o'clock, I want to say, on NBC. I want to say. Hockey season's back. I'm excited. And that is going to do it. Baseball's outside a bunch of trades, and right now it's still quiet talk. Because I don't think free agency is officially open. We're going to leave that on the back burner until that happens. There's been a couple trades. The Blake Snow a few weeks ago, that hurts. I used to hurt at first, but it's whatever. A couple big trades. Like San Diego's getting a lot of... The Padres are getting a lot of weapons and stuff. They're definitely the team to watch out for this upcoming season. Hockey, not a lot changed. There was a few trades here and there, and a few free agency signings here and there. But with a lowered cap, not much could have been done except for a bunch of restructuring and stuff. And the Lightning, specifically the Stanley Cup champions, and hopefully they'll repeat this year, didn't have that much changes outside that one trade that sent... I already forgot who they sent. I have the t-shirt. Hold on. I'll worry about it later. They got their main core back, which is good. Tyler Johnson. I have to talk about NHL news. The fact that Tyler Johnson is still on the Lightning is amazing, because they put him on waivers at the end of the season. Didn't get picked up. They tried to trade him this offseason. Didn't work. So honestly, I always looked up to Tyler Johnson growing up, because he's been around for a while, because he's always been the little guy that's really quick on the ice. I think it was in 2013, 13 or 14, where they were up when they faced Chicago in the Stanley Cup Finals. At the time, I almost said Braden Point. Tyler Johnson was one of the top goal scorers with 19 goals, which is wild. He had a hat trick in one of those games too. Like that still can't get out of my memory. But the fact that he's still on the team and we're under the cap, it looks like. Sucks that Kucherov is out for the year, but he might be able to make it postseason. Who knows? Hip surgery is weird, but that'll definitely... I wonder how that's gonna work out with the cap and stuff, especially with a low cap. But I've rambled on for 24 minutes. So, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Comment down below if you have any questions for me sports-wise. This is my first time, so hopefully we can have like a Q&A at the end of these videos. Or podcasts. It's being treated as a podcast anyway. But yeah. Let me know if there's anything I can do.